Hello, everybody. Gonna get logged on here, get all set up to do this Highland cow picture today. Happy Thursday. Today we are going to be painting this Highland cow. And I'm going to be using this as my inspiration picture for the cow part anyway. I'm going to do the hat and the presents a little bit differently. But this is the picture that I'm going to be using as my inspiration. Today, I'm going to be working with quite a few of my PanPastel colors. So I've got several different colors out here. I just cleaned my desk off and it's still wet. Get this wiped off here. Okay, so we are going to be working on this tile here, but there's actually 4 that come in the set. This was the one that I had thought about doing, but I think that this one will be a little bit cuter. So we've got these 2, and then there's this one, and there's this one. So there's 4 tiles in the set, and I did put a link down in the comments for these. I got these from Gammy'sHappyBees.com. And then I also wanted to show you guys the ceramic coasters that I also got from her yesterday. She has 6 sets of these available, and these are really nice because they have the cork foam on the back. So I'm anxious to try these out as well because these are ceramic. So these will be fun to try out and use with the pastels. So back to this one. I'm going to start out, I guess we'll start out on his little hat. I'm going to be working with the chromium extra greens and the permanent reds on the hat. So I've got 3 different shades here of the chromium oxide green shades. And then I'm also going to be working with the Zem brushes that are the round classroom brushes. And I did put a link to that in the set as well. Give me 1 second. I'm just looking at my brush here. I put a link for the master brush set because that is that one's got quite a few brushes in it and quite a few rounds in there as well. So I'm just trying to get my picture up here. Hang on 1 second. Okay, so I'm going to start out with the greens. We'll start out on the hat and then work our way down. Now, I haven't sprayed this with anything to get started. You can spray seal this ahead of time if you want to, just to, you know, you don't have to, but it will, when you're working with like the reds and stuff, it will actually soak into the slate a little bit more. So if you spray it with some Krylon matte finishing spray ahead of time, let me just grab that really quick. Now I'm doing this in a little bit of a different format. I'm using StreamYard today, so I can't see any comments right at this moment. So if you guys would just let me know if you're watching, the connection's okay. So the Krylon matte finishing spray is what you're going to want to use to spray seal this once it's all complete. I haven't sprayed it, but you can spray it ahead of time if you want, but it's not required. Okay. So I like to use the number 2s on these slate tiles. And these are the rounds, the classroom rounds. There's a master brush set on her website, or I believe you can buy them individually. But this is a brand new one, so I'm going to start out with a brand new brush here. And the reason why I like these classroom rounds is because they're a little bit of a stronger bristle. They're like a nylon or a Taclon type of material, so they work a little bit better on these slate tiles because these are textured. So starting out, I'm going to start out with my darkest color first here. And I'll just let you guys know I've had these tiles for a couple of weeks now. And I've been stressing out about painting this because, you know, these are so cute and I don't want to mess it up. And I feel like I might not be able to do justice to this little guy. So I'm going to start out with the hat just to kind of get warmed up a little bit. Okay, so we're going to start with our darkest shade, which in this case is going to be the chromium oxide green shade. This is what I selected. And we're going to do the fluff part of the hat here and the ball with the green. Okay, so starting out with a dry brush. Just going to pick up a little tiny bit on the tip of the brush here. Let me just grab my glasses. Okay, and we're just going to start. We'll start down here at the bottom of his little hat, down these shadow areas here. Always want to have our darkest color down here at the bottom on the underneath side and up around the corners here. And actually, I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that I want a little bit more contrast. So let me grab the darker green. Okay, so really quickly, for those of you guys who may be new here, let's just talk about the PanPastels for 1 second. I have the master brush set, which is 80 different colors. They come in trays like this for storage. This is from the master brush set, and I just put my thumb in one of the colors there. Hang on 1 second. If you guys wouldn't mind just saying hello, let me know where you're watching from, because I'm streaming this from StreamYard and I can't see any comments. So if you guys could just say hello, that would be awesome. So getting back to the colors here, we have 4 different shades of each color that's in the kit, okay? So you've got chromium green, extra dark shade, chromium green shade, chromium green, and chromium green tint. So we're going to have 4 colors, 4 shades of each color that's in the kit, okay? So I want to stay in this family, but I'm going to use my different colors to highlight and shadow, okay? So using the same brush, I'm just going to go in. Let me just pick up a little bit of this extra dark shade. I'm just going to add it right over the top of this. Okay, and I'm going to come all the way over. Obviously, it's going to be a little bit darker here because I don't have the lighter color down. It's not going to mix right here. Still, I mean, this color, I guess, is just pretty dark for this slate. But I think once I get the lighter shade on here, I'll get a little bit more contrast. Okay. Hi, Anne. Hi, Pamela. Thank you guys for letting me know. I'm also working with a new Wi-Fi situation here, so I know there's a little bit of a delay, but I just want to make sure my internet is also working okay for you guys. So, okay, so we're going to do our little dark shadow down at the bottom here. Okay, so now I've got my shadow color laid down. Now I'm going to come back in with a lighter color here. I'm going to come back with the chromium oxide, just a regular green. Going to use the same brush. Start filling in here down towards the bottom, right up against that dark green we laid down. man, it's really like not showing up very well, this particular color. So now this is a case where maybe you would take it outside and spray it so that your color is soaking in there a little bit more. Because right now it's pretty hard for you guys to see. And I'm seeing that once I get that lighter green laid down, I'm probably going to need to come back with the darker color again. So let's lay the highlight down really quick. Now this is the tint. So this is the same color family, but it's the lightest shade. So we're going to add our highlight on the top of the hat. Okay, so that looks pretty good. It's pretty light, and I'm sure that when I go and spray this, I'm going to have to maybe come back and add a second layer of color. So now I just want to blend that lighter shade into that middle color that we laid down. It's pretty subtle. And then once we spray it, I can come back in, I can add more color. So here I can see on this down here, pretty hard line right there. So I'm going to want to blend that out a little bit. Come back, I'm going to pick up a little bit more of this extra dark shade. Just going to blend this together a little bit right here. So we really want to get rid of that hard line there. We want it to be kind of, you know, a seamless transition there. Okay, so now going forward, I'm going to set this aside, the hat, for a second. And for the face, I want to make sure that I have all my burnt siennas, because the burnt siennas are the color of this Highland cow that I'm using. This is the picture that we're going to try to attempt. And I'm going to tell you guys I'm super nervous because, you know, there's a lot of highlights and stuff on the hair and texture. And I'm nervous if I'm going to be able to pull this off. So we'll see. What time is it? It is 6:25. Okay, so try to keep this about an hour or so. So I'm going to be using my burnt siennas for the cow. And I'm going to start out with the extra dark shade. I'm going to start out doing the shadows first. So the center of the head here, on the side of the ears, and underneath the hat and neck. The reason why I like to start out with the darkest shade is because it's a lot easier to blend when it comes time to blending if you do it from dark to light. Okay, so let me switch brushes here. Hang on one second. I'm just going to grab a different brush. Actually, I'll just clean this one. If you guys have one of these brush cleaners, you can get these on Gammy's Happy Bees too. She's like the one-stop shop for brushes and supplies. We don't ever use water with our pastel brushes. And the reason why I like to use the rounds is because we're really looking for precision where we apply the powder. And hi, Nicoletta. If you guys want to say hello, please let me know that you're here. Thanks for watching. So we want to have that point on the brush so that we can be really centralized on where we lay that powder down. Okay. So we're going to start out with the extra dark. And I'm going to very first go right up underneath the hat. Now, it's important to remember that these powders are live until they get sprayed down. So we don't want to mix the brown and the green together. So we have to be really careful right up here under the hat. We'll come all the way up underneath the hat because we're definitely going to have our darkest shadow there. Okay, and then hi Lanny, hi Debbie. Thank you guys. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry I've been pretty quiet lately. I've had just, man, really struggling with, like, I don't know what, burnout or imposter syndrome. I don't know. I've been wanting to paint these cows for a couple weeks. And then every time I sit down to paint them, I'm like, ugh, am I going to be able to paint this? You know, you guys, I love you guys for this. You think I can paint anything. But, you know, there are projects where, you know, you're kind of like, is this something can I pull this off? So we'll see here. I'm really looking at my picture for inspiration to make sure I get all the places right that need to be. So we're going to go ahead and continue with this dark color. Obviously, these shadows here up underneath the ear are showing us, because these are engraved, they're kind of showing us where our shadows are naturally. So I'm going to go ahead and just add a little bit of the dark brown there in the ear. And we remember, we always have to go wherever two things are meeting, like here the ear is meeting the hat. You're going to have a shadow here. And then where the hat is meeting the head, you're going to have a shadow here, right? So it's just important to kind of remember think about your light source. For me, I like to think about my light source always being right directly above whatever I'm working on. Excuse me. You know, but if you had something where like this guy who's looking up at the moon, you know, you would assume that the moon's over here. So then all your highlights are going to be coming in from this angle, right? So it really just depends on where your light source is, on where your shadows and highlights are. Marianne, you're so sweet. Oh my gosh. So we'll see. We'll see after this guy's done if we can't paint anything. I don't know. Okay, so let's see. We're going to also, right here on the side of the head, you can see we have a shadow because it's engraved in there for us. So we'll just go ahead and put our little shadow right there. I'm going to go right along the hat line, right up to the top of the ear. And then where the ear connects to the head, right here, of course, we're going to have a shadow. Okay, and then looking at the picture here, this kind of looks like some of these dark colors do kind of go up here a little bit. So let's just go ahead and fan this, put a little bit of darkness right here. Now, the thing about my new house situation, you guys, is at the old place, I could just step right outside and spray and come back and keep working with you guys. But I'm up on the second floor now and I can't just hop outside. So I'm gonna do my best here to kind of do this without having to spray it, but I don't really know how well that's gonna work. So let's just do our little shadows here underneath the chin. Okay, and then let's see, probably I would say maybe a little bit right here. A little bit right here. Just kind of in the corner of the eye, I've got a little bit of a dark shadow there. Let's come down a little bit farther with this one. Okay, and then definitely right through here, it's going to be really dark. So let's just add our dark color here. I'm going to be really careful not to get it into where, you know, the color where you don't want it, because this is slate and it does absorb the color, even though it kind of wipes off, and you'll hear me blowing the excess powder off. I'm sorry, I know that's super obnoxious. So let's just get all along the present here. All right, how does that look? Looks pretty good. Let's come down a little bit right here. You know, anywhere that we kind of have these dark shadows, we can just go ahead and add our darker color. Okay, so switching over, now I'm going to go to my regular color. Okay, what do you guys think of these slate tiles? Have you guys bought any yet? Have you tried them? I know that quite a few people have bought some, and I just wondered if If you guys did buy any and you painted them, are you posting them in the friends group on Facebook so that everybody can see? Because I'd love to see what you guys are doing with the tiles. Okay, so next, let's see. I'm probably going to, let's actually do our highlights first. How about this? Let's just do some highlights first because then we can kind of fill in with our base color. Okay, wiping off my brush. I cleaned my brush. We're going to start right. We're going to go to this is the burnt sienna tint. So this is the lightest shade. We started out with the darkest shade of burnt sienna, and now we're kind of going, now we're going to go with the lightest shade. And you don't have to do it this way. I mean, I'm kind of just like not really sure how this is going to turn out. So I'm just kind of winging it, you guys, honestly. So let's just lay our highlight colors down here. And honestly, with this particular, with these slate tiles, I'm just like, I'm kind of just tapping the powder in there, you know, versus like brushing it in on some of these spots, like on the hair, this hair that's on the outside, you can kind of just tap it into those little creases a little bit. Oh my gosh. Let's see. So we're going to go like around the eye. I probably like could use a smaller brush here, but because the eyes are like really kind of black, I think it'll be okay. But if you decide that you get some on there and you need to remove it, I'm looking for my little eraser. The little erasers that come with your pastel kits. Obviously this one's dirty, but you can just tap it on there, or actually you can wipe it to get the color off. These things work great for removing the powder if you make a mistake, and you get some of those with your kit, obviously. So, all right, so let's see. And then around the nose here, all of this part is going to be this color. So let's just go around this nose really quick. Just kind of looking to get our base colors down. These little cows are so cute. I've been wanting to paint one of these for a while, but it's been stressing me out because they're so cute. I don't want to mess them up. So this hair really does come all the way out here. And then this underneath here is also this color. Okay. So I like that. That is so cute. So cute. All right, let me switch to the burnt sienna. Let's add some of the brown color on here. Renee, I know, I'm sorry. I've been let's see. I'm still nervous about how he's going to turn out. So let's just go ahead and lay some of this powder down here. I'm just kind of filling in these spots. You know, we'll blend everything once we kind of get the color laid down. And you may want to go back and add some more powder, like I was saying. That's totally okay. The thing I love about these pastels is, you know, you can spray them and then come back and add more color, which is really nice when you're working with them on ceramics. So we'll see how this is going to work, because what I would recommend to you guys is when you're getting ready to do the highlight part on the hair, that you spray this before you get ready to add the highlights on top of this color, right? My phone keeps going dark while I'm trying to look at the picture. So let's see, we have to come up on this top part a little bit because this is the shadow that we laid down earlier. So all of these the little tips of the hair are going to be the tint. So we'll lay this color down first, and then we'll come back and do the tips with the tint. You guys, I'm excited to try these pastels on these ceramic tiles that she sent me, because I don't know if you guys saw these in the very beginning. These things, if you guys are interested in these, so I haven't done any of these yet, but these are actually ceramic tiles, okay? And she has 6 sets of these available. They're not on the website, so if you guys are interested in these, you have to message her. But I am going to do, these are called Smoky Santas, and that's why they have like pipes and stuff. But I'm really interested to try the pastels out on these because they are ceramic, and these are laser engraved, you guys. So if you don't want to paint them, you don't have to. They're very beautiful on their own. And I love these ones have the foam on the back, or the cork, I mean. So these are really nice. So I would like to try to paint this one in like some blues, or even like, I don't know, I think these kind of look like maybe like Icelandic Santas or like Father Time. So I'd love to get your guys's feedback on some ideas about what you think we could do with these, because they are ceramic. These are going to be the next thing that we try out. Lanny, do you typically start with the lighter colors or darker colors? So I always start with the darker colors, because just like when we're working with our ceramics, we always start in our shadow areas, like in our creases under the, at the top of the head is usually where I start, right here on the side of the ears. And then I usually come underneath the eyes here and do like on the side of the face. So I always start with the darker first. I don't know. I'm kind of just playing around with this one because there is so much hair. It's so textured that, you would have to, let me just show you the picture again. Looking at the picture, see how there's all those highlights are like through the hair. That is how it's going to look the most realistic, but I'm not going to be able to achieve this unless I spray in between coats, because the minute I try to lay my tint down over the top of the regular burnt sienna, those colors are going to blend together and I'm going to end up with just a lighter burnt sienna. But what I would like is layers, multi-layers. So realistically doing this, you would lay down all your burnt sienna and then maybe take a smaller brush, very tiny brush, smaller than this one, and come back in and add little tiny highlights over the tops of some of this hair, because it's so textured. And like you can see, once I added in the dark kind of dissipated a little bit. So now I can come back to the dark. If I need to add more dark here in the middle area, because that's where the hair started, so that it's going to be the darkest there. Always working, starting where you lay your color down, working out. So here now, because we're working with dark colors, okay, you guys, I should have sprayed this first. If I would have sprayed this first, when you're working with the dark browns and the dark reds, if you spray it ahead of time, you're going to end up with that color is going to be a lot more visible. So let's just put some more dark here inside the ear. See, I really want it to be more dark here, but because I have regular burnt sienna laid down there, it's kind of just it's just kind of blending the colors together. Whereas if I spray it and then come back and add more of the extra dark shade in the center, I'm going to get a lot more shadows and details, right? So, okay, so looking at his face, once I get the regular burnt sienna color laid down, now I can come back with my tint. And you could even use white if you want them to be, if you want the tips to be really bright. But I'm just going to come back in and we're just going to add the little tips here. We'll just add a little bit of tint on the very ends of the hair here. And remember, if you make a mistake, you can wipe it off. Renee told me that she actually ran hers underwater, just like put it underwater because she just wanted to wipe it and start over when she was testing hers out. So, I mean, I guess that's an option. Some of the color will stay on there, but if you really wanted to start over, you could absolutely just wash the powder off if you haven't sealed it down yet. I don't ever like to use water. I would have preferred to use my little sponge applicators. And I'm sorry, this one's dirty. You guys, my office is such a mess, and half my stuff is still at my old house because we haven't sold it yet. So I'm really discombobulated, and I'm doing the best I can for you guys with limited stuff. So I'm sorry. But you may want to use a smaller brush here on this part. You don't have to. You can see it's working fine with this number 2. So again, this is the tip of the hair. So we'll just go ahead and go all the way across here at the base of the chin. Really wishing that I could spray this and show you guys. But maybe I'll do it in 2 parts. Maybe we'll get the base coat laid down and I'll spray it, come back and finish it tomorrow. Because ideally, like, let's just try it. If you're working here, you probably might want to get like this one right here on the top of the nose a little bit lighter. Everywhere where the light is hitting, obviously it's dark here, but also because the hair is coming out from here, it's going to be the darkest. But also this is the top of the head. And so you're also going to have some highlights here on the top of the head, right? So like maybe like right here on the top, we'll add a little bit of tint on the tips of the hair here. And again, if I could spray this, it would be working so much better. But really all I'm doing here is, because I'm adding this lighter tint on top of another burnt sienna color, because remember, we're working in the same family here. I have been using all 4 of the burnt siennas. Well, I used 3 of them. I didn't use the dark shade. I used the extra dark shade and then burnt sienna and then the tint. So you guys can see, if I was just putting straight tint on right here and it had been sprayed, it would be this straight color. But because I haven't sprayed it, it's blending with the burnt sienna that I laid down there first. So it's just giving me a darker burnt sienna. I hope that makes sense. Okay, so I've got my color laid down there. Let's go ahead and pull some of this tint out on some of these longer hairs here. What happened right here? I haven't laid out the color down yet on the bottom, so. Let's see, probably need a little bit on these tips right here. Okay, he's looking cute, but, I really wish I could do a little bit more with the color here. Just pull this tint down just a tad bit and blend this into the sienna. Remember, I'm just using really light brush strokes here, and as long as you're working with the texture of the hair, now I'm going to come back here. Let's just pull this down a little bit, blend this a little bit here. Okay. Come back to the regular burnt sienna. Just, we don't, the great thing about this, you guys, is it's kind of just like coloring, if I'm being honest. You think about like, okay, let's just do it this way. We'll put the burnt sienna as our main hair color, right? So really we can do it just like this. Let's lay it down right in the middle. Right in the middle. Come down to the bottom. Okay, now I can come back in with my extra dark shade. This is just another way you guys can do it. I like to give you different ways, okay? Come back with our extra dark shade, and let's just go ahead and go into our shadows. Everywhere where two things meet here, the legs meet in the neck or whatever, the body. So we're going to have a shadow here. Right here along the present, we're going to have a shadow. Don't forget under here. Okay. Now I can go back in and I can add my highlights. I like to flip it around when we're working with the hair because it's a lot easier because of the pointed tip to be able to get those pointed tips at the end of the hair there. Okay, and we're just going to pull that color right up into the burnt sienna. Right here on the top, I'll go ahead and pull a little bit here, right here, because this is the top of the arm. So there will be a little bit of a highlight there on the top. Right? Same thing over here. Just going to highlight this little top of the shoulder here. Blue would be awesome. I think so, Marianne. I think that I was telling Renee today, those Santas, they could be like a King Neptune. You could really, to me, they look like they could be so much more than just Santas. So I'm really going to put some thought into how I'm going to come at that guy because he's going to be amazing. So I'm just adding a couple little highlight streaks here. I want it to be a little bit lighter on the top of the head. Okay. Looking at this, I feel like I need a little bit more here on the chin. Again, I'm just kind of tapping the powder in there. Because the thing about these slate tiles is because they're textured, they're laser engraved. So when you really you brush it, work in a circular pattern or something like that, you end up getting the color down into the black. And a lot of that will dissipate when you spray it because it's not full coverage on the black. So a lot of those things will kind of disappear when you spray it, which is nice. And again, you can always come back and add more color if you need to. Now, for those of you guys who might be new here, the 80 count set, the master set that PanPastel offers, I do have that set, but when I'm recommending to my students which brush set to buy, I always tell them to get the 20 count set. That's the set that I started with, and it's great because you can mix your own colors. And because I'm doing this with you guys, this isn't a class. I'm not worried about keeping the supply costs low, so I'm just using my whole entire set. But if we were doing this as a class, instead of using all the tints and the extra dark shades, we could just mix our own colors with the white and the black and the grays that come in the 20 count set. So it's really easy and saves quite a bit of money to mix your own colors. And if you're not comfortable or you don't feel like you need the whole set, the 20 count set is the one that I always recommend. So there's a link for that, you guys, too, in the comments. And just, you know, full transparency that I am a paid affiliate with dickblick.com. So when you guys do buy PanPastels from the link on my website, I do receive a commission. So I'm just going to go back and kind of blend this into the burnt sienna a little bit. I don't want any, you know, harsh stop and start lines. I really do want a nice transition. So I feel like I need a little tiny bit of just regular burnt sienna right underneath the lip line right here, or the chin line. Because I didn't add any right there. I just did the burnt sienna extra dark shade. So let's blend this out a little bit. Let's blend these two colors together. Okay. So then looking at his little snout, I have to pull the picture up because I'm going to switch to a different color here. Looking at the color, I was like, oh, what can I do? That's like a pinkish color, and I don't really have that in my set. So the closest thing I have is the red iron oxide tint. So I'm going to try that on the nose and see how that looks. Thank you, Peg. I appreciate that. You guys are so sweet. I'm not really comfortable with this project quite yet. I'm still not feeling like I'm doing this guy justice. So let's see. Let's get these out of the way here. Looking at my picture. Let's just see. Let's start right here in the middle. So now this color is going to be kind of my base color because this is the lightest shade that I had for this, and I need highlight colors too, so I'm gonna have to add some white. And why isn't it focusing? That's super obnoxious. There we go. Okay, so let's just see here. Let's go ahead and add our color. It's going to be all along the bottom of the nose here. Okay, and then looking at it, I also see probably just like right here along the very top, just a little bit right there. Now I'm going to take some white because I don't have a color lighter than the tint. The tints are the lightest color that come in the set. So because I don't have a tint, I'm going to use white. Okay. So let me actually just pull up a little bit more here because I don't want it to be super bright white. And I'm going to blend these two colors together right here on this palette. Now, when you're talking about mixing colors, you can do it one of two ways. These PanPastels, when you buy them, I don't know if you noticed, right? They screw together. When you buy the set, the 20 count set, it comes with a few lids. And I don't have one handy right here in front of me. But you can either mix right on whatever you're painting, or you can mix in the lids. So I would take like the tint and the white. I spilled paint in my white one day. I still haven't taken it out of there. So I would mix these two in the lid just with the brush, and then I could go on and add it. Or I can just mix right here on the face right directly, right? So I'm going to go ahead and just take the white. Right on the very top. And then I'm going to take the white right here on the edges. And of course I could be using a smaller brush, but for the sake of time in this video, I'm just going to continue using this number 2. Okay, so I've got those two colors lined up next to each other. And I don't know why it's focusing like that. It's annoying. So now I'm going to flip it over because I want to blend from the color into the white. I don't want to blend from the white into the color, right? You add a little bit more white here on the top. Okay, so I'm going to flip it around, clean my brush. Actually, let me take just a tiny little bit of the regular red iron oxide, and I'm just going to go right along the very bottom of the nostrils, or this little whatever, I guess the whole thing is the nose. So we'll just add a little tiny bit of a shadow down here at the bottom. And again, I'm using the same color family, okay? I laid the red iron oxide tint down, and now I'm using the red iron oxide to add my shadow. Okay, and then I'm also going to take a little bit and I'm going to put a tiny little dot of this right here. Right here. Okay. Let's connect those. Okay, now I've got my color laid down. Now I'm going to blend this out. Okay, I'm going to wipe my brush off. Remember, we're never using water with pastels. This is just, I just used a brush cleaner. You can use a paper towel, soft cloth, whatever you have. You just want to make sure your brushes are clean, especially when you're going from a different color family. If you're going from red to white or blue to yellow or something like that, you want to make sure you don't have any excess powder in your brush. Okay, so I've got my color laid down here. Now let's start blending this out. I'm going to start here and I'm going to start at the bottom and work up. I'm working in a small circular pattern. I'm using very little pressure. Okay, now I'm going to come over here. I'm just going to do like a light sweeping and pull this shadow right up into the white. And I'm going to pull it all the way into the white because I don't want it to be white. I want it to be a lighter shade of that, you know, kind of reddish color that we have going on here. Okay, so come over here. Let's pull this up all the way to the top. So you can see in your corner here, you're going to have a little bit of a darker because, you know, this is a little intersection right here. So you've got a shadow is going to be a little bit darker right there on the inside of the nostril. Coming down a little bit more right here. Okay, now I'm going to wipe my brush off and I'm going to come back here. I'm going to start in the middle and I'm just going to work my way up to the top, okay? Start here and I'm going to stay out of those nostrils. I'm just going to stay in the middle part of the nose. I'm just going to come all the way up to the top. So that is how we can add white and blend without it actually looking white. You know, we put white to blend, but it's not, doesn't actually look white on his face, right? So then let me see, let me look at my picture again really quick. Okay, it also looks like on the underneath side. Okay, so on the underneath side of the nose, right up here, right along the very top is a little shadow right here. So let's go ahead, and this is just the red iron oxide that we used on the nostrils. And then also it's red right up underneath his mouth right here. So let's just add a little bit right here. Once you get the color laid down there, just kind of use the brush and work in a slow little, work it downward motion to follow those hairs. Let's blend this out a little bit here. Okay, and then I'm going to come along the top here and just soften this line up a little bit right on the top of the nose. Okay. It's looking pretty cute. I don't know. It's not quite as, probably need some red up on the underneath side and the black part of the nostril, but I don't think it will show up very well over the top of the black, so I'm just going to leave it. And then as far as the hat goes, I probably need to put more green on there. For his horns, I grabbed a couple of different browns. I don't really ever use the raw umbers. You can see they're kind of like a blah color, but I thought I would try them out on the horns and see how they look. How that brown shows up down here. This is pretty muted colors. But again, you know, you can come spray it and come back and add more colors and brighten it up a lot. So that is essentially like your intersection area where your horn is meeting the hat. So you're going to have your shadow down there at the base. I really wish it would get into focus more. I don't know why it does that. Okay, and then you're also going to want to come up like on the side of the horn too, not just on the underneath side, or I mean on the where it meets the hat. Let's see how this looks. This definitely might need some white added to it. Oh yeah, you can barely even see that. So again, this is one of those times where you would go ahead and spray it. I mean, I feel like with these, when you're working with these darker colors, and I could go spray it right now, come back and add some more, it would be good. So let's add a little bit of white just on the very top. We'll blend it in with that raw umber that we just put down. I really didn't want to use that anywhere except on the horns. So, all right, you guys, I feel like this is probably a good place to start. We're at 52, stop, we're at 52 minutes. I'm going to spray this and do a little bit more highlighting on him. And also I'll finish, well, I mean, I guess I can do the package a little bit if you guys want, but the snowflakes on there, I feel like that is going to be a little bit more. How am I going to get those in there? I'm going to have to really paint around those, or I could do those with the, okay, I'm going to think on the present. So I'm going to think on the present because I need to think on that a little bit more. And definitely I need to go in, spray this, blend this stuff a little bit more and add some more highlights. So we'll stop for tonight. I'll spray this and maybe come back and we'll finish it tomorrow with you guys. And I hope you guys are having a great week and everybody's ready for Christmas. I'm definitely not, but anyway, thank you guys for watching. Let me know what you think about this project so far, and I'll be looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.